Well, good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana Weather. Thanks for logging on here to my latest long-range update. Lots and lots to talk about tonight. First of all, active weather has returned to the Ohio Valley. We got some rain out there. It's been raining pretty much most of the day here in Southern Indiana, and as you can see, finally seeing that back end come as hit towards the state line here. That's going to roll here through the evening times. Got another 2 or 3 hours worth of rain for southwest Indiana, several more hours of rain if you're over here on this side of the state. But that's good news because we certainly could use the rain. It's been pretty dry around here. Any bit of rain that we can get, especially these all-day soakers, are really the best to soak that in. This is really pretty impressive here too. The loop over the last 4 hours. Notice this little line of storms that has developed down here. It's not severe. No warnings with this, and at the same time, there's really not any lightning even going on with this. Just a little bit of heavier rain down there for them. Rain totals not been ridiculously impressive. Certainly not the 2-inch totals like some of the high res data was suggesting, but many of us have gotten close to an inch around the area, and of course, we certainly need that. That rain will be tapering off as we head later into the evening hours. Now, here's what I want to really get to tonight and look towards the long range outlook. Many of you have messaged me on Facebook and asked me questions on Twitter already about this Weather Channel and their forecasts. Many of you rely on the Weather Channel for their forecast, especially if you have it in the app version. I don't have the app pulled up. I just pulled it up on their webpage. Same thing as their app, just different format. If you scroll down to December the 9th, they're saying snow showers, and look at this. They're already saying, well, this particular one for me is now saying snowfall around 1 inch. Earlier today it said 3 to 6 inches of snowfall. And many of you have been asking about this, saying, well, what does this mean? What do you say about this, Michael? Here's the thing that you need to keep in mind. First off, in my opinion, this is irresponsible to even talk about definite accumulations this far out. But here's the thing you need to know about the Weather Channel. No human ever touches this forecast. So everything that you see here, this is all completely computer generated. 100%. So from the conditions over to the highs and lows, the percent chance, what the winds are going to be, the whole 9 yards, all of that is just driven by a big computer database. They take the GFS model primarily, and they'll use the Euro and some of the other models. They mix everything together, and the computer comes up with just some raw output and spits it out. The Weather Channel maybe employs, 200 or 300 meteorologists, something like that. But here's the idea. Even with that army of meteorologists, you can't hand produce a forecast for every single city in the United States. Just not possible. And so they have to computer generate it because of that. So just bear that in mind. Whenever you look on your Weather Channel app and you scroll down and you see, oh my goodness, it's calling for accumulating snow, just understand that's a computer model. That's no human has ever even touched that forecast. And it's the same way with AccuWeather, to be fair. If you want a better forecast, in my opinion, trust me, go to southernindianaweather.com. Unfortunately, I don't have an app, but I do have a website, and it is mobile friendly. And if I just scroll this over here, you can go to my webpage. This is updated every day. Click on 10-day forecast, and you'll get the latest 10-day will be there. Mine is not generated by computers. I do take all the models into account, but this is a hand-drawn forecast. It's all made by me. So keep that in mind. You can take what you will with the Weather Channel, but for those of you that are asking what do I think about it, I don't put any stock or any trust into what the Weather Channel says. It's just a computer model, which is why I come up with my own. Now, here's where the computer models are getting that from. All right, so first off, we've got a couple of storm systems to deal with after we get past this one. We got a storm system that's going to roll through here on Sunday, Monday, in that time frame. And then we get another storm system that's going to roll towards the end of next week. So we've got two that we've really got to deal with here. And those two storm systems that we have got to deal with, really they're a complicated setup. So here's what the Euro model is saying as we go through this. All right, let's move this on down through here. Here's the system that we are going through. there comes about Wednesday here. And on Wednesday, there's some rain here down to our south. Maybe some small chance of showers. I went ahead and put a 20% isolated chance in my 10-day here for it. Not sold on the idea that we see much Wednesday. This is pretty much going to be that idea. As I move along, though, we dry out for a few days. We even get a warm up for a couple of days in here. Thursday comes and we'll have a front move through here and another trough come in. We get knocked down again. And then here's what the Euro sees as we head in towards the weekend. High pressure starts to build in here. As you notice, there's a 1024 ridge of high pressure right over us, but watch what happens down here. The Euro then moves that high out of the way and develops a low pressure and deepens it pretty fast. Here we are, 7 a.m. Sunday morning. We got rain breaking out here over the Ohio Valley. Watch this blue line here. This is what we call the 540 thickness line. The 540 thickness line is typically a rain-snow changeover line. It's not an exact location for that. It is merely just sort of an estimated placement of that. So the theory is anything into these blue lines would be snow. Anything here into these red lines up to the blue line would be rain, with sort of a mix right along that solid dashed dark blue line there right in between it. All right, now watch this as it goes. The low deepens, it tightens up here, it's getting stronger. That's drawing a lot of moisture in here, and look at this. There, that rain-snow changeover line comes right over southern Indiana, and it brings what could be a decent little dose of snow potentially to somebody. The question here is who at this point? And right now, there is some run-to-run consistency with this. This is the current Euro from this morning, but this is the Euro from yesterday, from last night, 12 hours ago. All right, but here's what you notice, though, the position of the low. So here's last night's run, and the low tightens, and it deepens up there as well, but it takes more of a westerly track and comes up with the heart of the low right here through Illinois, and then deepens it before it moves it up and then out. As you watch here what this does, the current run of the Euro takes it a little bit towards the east, deepens that low right into Kentucky, and then rides that up right along the Ohio-Indiana border. And so the position of the low there is key, and here's the reason why. If this run of the Euro is right, we get snow here in southern Indiana. If this run of the Euro is right, we get rain. Big difference just for the position of the low, just from very simply the low being right here in this run and right over here in today's run. That's going to make a big difference. And you know, with the decent little accumulations, decent little QPF, what we call quantitative precipitation forecast, that's the green shadings here, the amount of rain forecast here within each time period, that can make a big difference as to whether it's rain or snow. And so I'll show you that here in a second. That moves off then, and then as we go through the period here, you've got another system that's starting to develop, and the Euro is developing this here around, this is 7 a.m. on December the 8th, and here's the Euro developing it out there. Its run today is a little bit later with that. Yesterday's, last night's run, it developed that low here about the 6th and then moved that through with some accumulating snow here for southern Indiana as well. So there's a couple of systems that we got to look at, but we've got to get the timing down on these things first. All right. So if you take that first system here this weekend, all right, so the Euro says we got some rain going to a snow kind of event for us. Let me show you what the other models are showing. Here is what the Canadian model, the GEM model, is showing. And here's what the GEM is showing. Rather than just one low deepening from Texas, here it has a low up to our north and just sort of a energy here, moisture being precipitated from an upper level impulse. And then you got this southern branch of it as well. They never phase together, and they never get their act together, and it moves them away. The GEM does not see as far out as this next storm system beyond that, only maybe the beginnings of it developing down here. The GFS model is pretty similar to the GEM. It has high pressure here for the Saturday, but then here you come into Sunday, and it's got rain for us. And here's that energy with the upper level impulse. There's a high pressure separating it here with the energy down to our south. The two never marry up happily, and the next system moves through here about the 6th. The Euro does not have this one. and then it develops another system behind it that we're going to talk about in a second. So the difference between these is huge. If you have a deepening low pressure that moves up versus just an open wave as it moves over us, that's going to mean significant differences. Here's why. If you trust the Euro model for this coming Sunday into Monday, it dumps a mega snowstorm, especially up to our north, where a foot of snow or more could be had for Indianapolis and points northward. Around here, this is given about, say about 2 to 3 inches here for the Evansville area, maybe an inch or so for Louisville, and the 1 to 3 gradient is pretty tight over southern Indiana, and then here's your 6-inch gradient right around here. It's a pretty impressive little snowstorm if that's right, but it's not the only model out on the planet. Remember, the GEM is not showing anything at all. Let me show you what the GFS is showing on accumulations. Not a thing. So here's the point for this. No one can tell you with any degree of certainty, including me, what Sunday is going to do. Which is just impossible at this point. Models are not meshed up at this point. Euro could be right, the GFS could be right. I'd bank more on the GFS at this point. Our cold air has been pretty limited at this point. We'll see. I'm not going to rule out the possibility for some accumulating snow on Sunday, but I do think the chances of it are a little bit less at this point. But we will see. Now let me show you, go back to the GFS here and show you in the extended period what the GFS is doing. And the GFS is really just going bonkers here. This was the morning run. It takes what's happening here is there are two different energies. If you were to look in the upper levels, there's an impulse coming down here and an impulse coming up here, a developing low pressure. And what the GFS does is move it in as rain first here. This would be Friday, December 9th at 0Z, so that's 7 p.m. on December the 8th, Thursday. All right, that moves that through, and by the time you're into the morning hours on the 9th, you've got an all-out snowstorm having moved through the area, and pretty quick hitting snowstorm, and with some pretty decent-sized accumulations there as well. But is it right? Well, here's the last several runs of the Euro. Here's the run from this morning, and notice it had a pretty deep low pressure with accumulating snow over us. The 18Z run yesterday had that same deep low, even heavier accumulations over us. But then the one that happened overnight, the 6Z, this was run at 1 a.m. this morning. You can see all it is just, it does not phase the two branches of the jet stream and does not develop that deep low. It's just more of an open wave. It's very minor coming through here. A little bit of snow, but more of a nuisance kind of snow than a big snowstorm. And then the model that was ran yesterday at 7 p.m., there's your two branches of it. Never marries them up. We don't get a drop really out of it. Just maybe it's not much of anything. All right. Here's the way that shakes out. So if you believe the GFS this morning, that's some pretty decent sized totals. That's a heck of a winter storm over us. The 18Z run yesterday, a mega snowstorm over us. I can almost tell you this won't verify. All right, we almost never have storms this big around the area. This is once every 20 years around that you get this kind of a snowstorm. So this would be more realistic, and this would be a big winter storm in itself. This is just almost laughable. But then you come down to this, and I want to show you these others as well. Here was your 0Z last night, where it gives you just a light coating over the area, and then here was this, here was the 6Z run overnight last night. Brings the accumulating snow to our north, and just really from next to nothing to a couple of inches across southern Indiana here. So very wide variety in here. So whenever you look at your Weather Channel forecast, for those of you that have done that, and you see it says 3 to 6, just I can challenge you. Pull it up again 6, 12 hours later and see what it says again. I guarantee you it's going to change, because what it's doing is it's using the output from these computer models that I'm showing you right here, and it's going to change about every time the model is run. Now, all they're doing is regurgitating model data out to you, not really making a forecast. That's why the Weather Channel and AccuWeather, neither one are really the most reliable sources for weather because of that around here. And then just to show you, to be fair, here's the latest GFS that was ran at 1 p.m. this afternoon. Absolutely nothing around the area, even with Sunday or with this next storm system. So there's a wide variety of solutions to this at this point. What I can say to you is it does make sense. I do believe there is some support for it. If you go back to my winter forecast, final winter forecast that I issued back on November the 4th, scroll down, I gave a pretty deep discussion on a lot of things, and if you read that, one of the things I discussed was the recurring WOSB wave train. This is an organic forecasting method that I use to help predict in the longer. This helps see the signals that are moving through and sort of watch this. So here's Louisville, and here's Indianapolis, and notice we're right in here during the 4th, 5th, 6th time frame. There's a signal moving through. And anywhere here from the 8th down to the 11th, there's some sort of another signal moving through. So the organic forecasting methods do see that there's something in the future there. It can't tell you whether there's rain really or snow yet. Excuse me. I think can't really tell me whether there's rain or snow there really at this point. All right. It does lend some support though. So whenever you see a run like this of the GFS, and notice exactly where this is going. Starts off, originates with a low down here into Texas. Let me get back to the right and run here. There we go. And watch what it does. It moves that low here into the Ohio Valley and then up like this. Go back to my winter forecast. Scroll down here a little further and go past my winter highlights map and my temp outlook. Go to my storm tracks. This is exactly what I said the active storm track would be like for this fall. Why? Because of that persistent southeast ridge. Here's what you got going on. You got a developing southeast ridge here, and it's not, well, it's redeveloping again. It's a persistent feature, sort of comes and goes, and it won't let these troughs dig too far into the south. That puts the storm track here consistently right over the Ohio Valley. So with that, I expect that what you see in this map, this is going to be common. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be rain or snow or both all of the time. It's not going to be snow all the time, all winter long. But that active storm track is going to stay with us because of that southeast ridge. That's sort of what I've been hinting at there. One final thing, we just look really quickly at the teleconnections. They do look favorable for something like this. You're finally getting a negative North Atlantic oscillation that's blocking up around Greenland. That can help to deepen up these troughs, stall them out a little bit, bring that cold source down to us again. And the EPO, very critically, the EPO is going negative, and we really need that to get that cold supply to come down here. So some of the pieces of the puzzle are starting to line up here again. Some of them are not. It's just going to be wait and see. Be sure you follow me on social media as well, folks. Facebook.com/Southern Indiana Weather, and on Twitter here as well at Southern INWX. Well, that's it for tonight, folks. There's a lot to track in the coming days. Could it be an epic snowstorm, or could it be next to nothing? All options are really here on the table, but just keep it tuned here to Southern Indiana Weather as we go throughout the next week or two, and we'll sort out this whole mess together. Take care.